Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and today we're playing some SWAT 4. So I already went over all of this in a Hanging with Mangg, but I will recap this whole SWAT 4 process. So SWAT 4 is a game, came out in like 2005. Spoony did a Let's Play of it. It was one of the, earlier things he did. It was probably one of the first things that he did that I ever saw. It's one of my, favorite Let's Plays, of all time, because it's just, his Let's Play of that game is just hilarious. Really great stuff. But then, he never finished it until years later, and then when he finished it, he did it on, stream, and it was not the same at all. But anyways, so I never played SWAT 4 because, as funny as his videos were, he made it seem like a really frustrating game, and I was just like, it seems too procedural and just obnoxious, and I passed by it for years and years. Until recently, in which I picked up SWAT 4 and the expansion on GOG for $10, and I figured for $10, why not give it a try? This was, of course, bolstered by this mod, Elite Force, which is apparently, just the mod to end all mods for a game, because it's one of those mods where you'd never want to play the game without it after you play it. Which seems to be the case for me. I did not play it without it at first. I just, when I installed it, I threw in Elite Force and away I went. So I don't know really what the game is like without it, but I've read all the changes and things like that. And so, yeah, I'm going to stick with Elite Force. It fixes a lot of the bugs, a lot of the bullshit, a lot of problems that Spoony had specifically with the game are fixed. It makes the AI a lot more useful, a lot more intelligent. It makes the game more difficult. It penalizes you a lot more for breaking procedure. So, if you kill a hostage, or a hostage gets killed in the original game, it's like minus 15 points or something like that, which is livable. You can still beat a mission with that. Whereas here, it's just minus 50. It's pretty much an instant fail. Yeah, and it adds things, and it just makes everything a lot better. So, yeah, so I bought the game, I got Elite Force, I started playing just on my own, and I got 10 missions in or so, and I was like, this is really fun. This would make for a great Let's Play. I want to show this game off to people. So I started a new career from the beginning, and I did a Let's Play. I did about 2/3 of a Let's Play of the whole game. Again, another, I played through, the first dozen missions, which was quite a bit. And then at that point, I looked at the videos that I had recorded, and found out that the game audio was way too loud. It was just unusable. So I was like, wow, that's a big bummer. I didn't feel like doing another LP. So I was like, okay, I'll just make one video of, the first few missions just to show off the game. So I did that. Game audio still way too loud, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And so a little time has gone by, and I figure, all right, I do still really want to show off this game, but all right, we'll do an LP. We'll just do an LP again. We'll try that again, because it's just a freaking fun game, and I don't mind it. So now, yeah, I have the audio settings pretty damn low. I think this is the loudest video game I've ever played in my life. We have the sound effects at 6%. 6%. And even then, gunshots still will just, are as loud as my voice. So when there's, huge gunfights going on, which happens from time to time, and it's not, a lengthy bit, but there will be gunfights, and you probably won't be able to hear me. But for everything else, this should be good. This should be livable. Let's hope. So, alright, we're going to start a new career. We're gonna do... See, we have SWAT 4 in the expansion, which is what I did. I beat the game on my own, so I've done all that. There's these extra missions, campaign containing extra missions added by SWAT Elite Force. I haven't done those, so I guess we'll see. Well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I'll look into that on my own. Let's just do the base thing, because there's plenty there. There's like, I don't know, there's like 19 or 20 missions or something like that to do, so that should be good. Okay, so, first mission is at the Fairfax residence. This is a high-risk warrant/hostage rescue. So there's a, every mission has this sort of audio briefing. I'm just going to turn that off for each one because I can just explain it quicker. Basically, there's this guy who's pretty much the #1 suspect in some homicides. He's a serial killer. He kidnaps women and he fucks them up. You know how they do. And so they've tracked it down. It's almost assuredly this guy. He's got his latest victim in there. He's living in his mother's house, Gladys Fairfax, and so we've been brought in to bust into this guy's house, rescue the hostages before he, who knows what he does with them, and neutralize him. Now, whether that's with lethal force or otherwise, if he comes quietly, that's all the better. But so then for each mission, you have your entry. Now, you don't always get to pick between two entries. A lot of the times you only just have one choice, but especially later on, you almost always have two choices. So we can go in through the backyard to the rear door, backyard access to the rear door, or the driveway entrance into the garage. So we'll head into the garage. Here's our main suspect, Lawrence Fairfax. These are the civilians that are present. Melinda Klein, his latest victim, and Gladys Fairfax, his mother. The timeline of events, this is not useful, really. Like, this is just if you're really interested in like the actual crime aspect of it. And then as you play through missions, you'll unlock new equipment. So that brings us to the equipment selection. This is a pretty interesting part with the Elite Force mod and all that. You can really customize your loadout, how many magazines you want to bring, all sorts of different non-lethal options or less lethal options. You've got different guns, you've got different tactical choices, grenades, door wedges, pepper spray. You get to choose your face, your helmet, your armor, all sorts of stuff. And this all affects your weight that you're carrying and your bulk. So this affects, your movement rate and stuff like that. And not only do you get to select it for yourself, you also get to select it for each of your squad mates. So I guess I should kind of explain what's the game is about. You are the squad leader of a group of SWAT members. And so you're sent in for we're going to be doing all sorts of different missions, that involve, generally they're all pretty much involving take down the criminals, hopefully, alive, bring them in alive, arrest them all. Otherwise, defend yourself, kill them if necessary, and rescue all the civilians. It's almost always either a hostage situation or there just happens to be civilians in the building during the whole situation. They're like hiding out or something like that, and we have to rescue them. There are no missions that have no civilians. Like, every single one has civilians you have to worry about. Some missions also have like bombs that you have to defuse, but that's not for a while. My go-to guns, really my go-to gun is generally the submachine gun. This is like a suppressed MP5. I like that. If I know I'm going up against guys with heavy body armor and things like that, I might load up with an assault rifle. I think we actually have more guns than I should have. I don't know why I have so many assault rifles. Yeah, I feel like I haven't unlocked some of these things yet, so I don't know what's going on with that. But shotgun is also good, and so we'll give that a shot. Give it a shot. So we'll go with the M1 Super 90, and you get to choose your ammunition. So $0, $00, $00, $00, $1, 12 gauge frangible rounds, $4, or a slug. I've actually never tried a slug. That's really only good for armored targets. We are not going up against armored targets. The only one we might have to shoot is like his buddy with a gun. I've never actually seen Lawrence himself resist, but maybe we'll see. Frangible, usually used when breaching doors, so we don't really want to do that. Increased chance of ricochet. Let's give this, I've never used $4. Let's give it a try. And you get to pick how many shells you use. It's a negligible addition to your weight and bulk, but there you go. As for our secondary, you can choose no weapon. That's a brand new thing with Elite Force. Now you can choose no weapon. We'll just go with the M1911 with, yeah, JHP is fine. A few magazines of that. As for tactical, I generally roll with one of each type of special grenade. You can get C2, so that's breaching charges if you want to breach a door, but usually your buddies carry enough of it. Pepper spray. This is used to subdue an uncooperative target, because you have to arrest everybody. You have to restrain them, so they need to be cooperative. But since the expansion to this game added in a little punch button that doesn't cause any damage but makes people comply, you don't really need to carry pepper spray. Door wedges. Door wedges are used, obviously, to wedge doors, but this is mainly to prevent criminals from fleeing into another room if you can set it up. Like, if you're going into a room with 2 doors, and you have access to both doors, you might wedge one of them so that they're pretty much stuck in that room once you go into it. You can also wedge doors behind you to prevent, like, an ambush or something like that from somebody sneaking around behind you and shooting you in the back. So, things like that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I mean, we'll unlock a few more things, but not really. And then we have the Opti Wand. This is used to look under doors and look around corners and things like that. It's pretty much essential. You always want to have an Opti Wand. As for our protection, we're going to roll with the tactical helmet compared to no helmet, since this gives us some protection as well as protects you against flashbangs, which the enemies don't use flashbangs, but well, you do. Then for your armor, you have Kevlar, heavy Kevlar, ceramic, or steel plate armor, and this definitely heavily affects your weight and bulk. We'll go with heavy Kevlar. I practically never adjust these guys. The only time I did when I played through the whole game was like one of the last missions when I was like, okay, you guys need an upgrade in what you're using. But most of the time, game's not too bad. Alright, so for this mission, for the next few missions, I could certainly just go in, not really like Rambo, but solo, and I could take care of everything.
Gold. Stack up on that door. Making it happen.
But that's not really how the game is meant to be played. You're really meant to...
It's locked.
You're really meant to utilize your squad mates here, because they can coordinate as a unit, whereas you by yourself are just one person. And so... Unlocked. They can do pretty much everything that you can do. And you press this button, you have to have this contextual menu when you're looking at something, and
get a closer look at that.
You can command them to go into a room and clear it out. You can command them to restrain everybody, pick up evidence.
Make entry.
You can have them throw grenades. You can have them breach doors.
We're in the house and continuing
Okay, I really did not expect him to be there. But alright, they found a guy immediately, and they put him down very quickly. So, that was good.
Fall in on me.
Alright, so I'll take point here. Actually, hold on.
You're in my way, sir.
Yes, I know.
Need you to move.
So, that really should be the only armed resistance we come across.
Creepy basement, check. Creepy rat cages.
Until we find Lawrence. But let's head upstairs. We've got to restrain his mother.
How dare you come in here?
Unarmed contact
on the ground now.
Okay.
Civilian
Civilian, ready for
and a
arrest.
lady.
Check. On it.
So,
We'll get you out of here.
one thing the Elite Force mod does is really sort of differentiates like personalities and stuff of suspects and civilians. And the other thing is, one of the main things to utilize in the original game is non-lethal weapons. You know, like beanbag shotguns and tasers and stinger grenades, things like that.
With you.
Because you get more points by bringing people in alive rather than killing them. So you want, if you want high points, you want to arrest everybody. And so the best way to do that is to sort of subdue them non-lethally. But that's not really realistic entirely, because in the base game, non-lethal meant non-lethal.
Suspect
It would.
contact. Suspect's out of range.
Police, put your hands up. Police, drop your weapons.
All right, he did actually
Talk.
resist.
Entry team.
You
Suspect
point a
killed.
gun at me, that gives me freedom to shoot. Let me finish what I was trying to say. Non-lethal meant non-lethal. It would never kill anybody ever, which is not realistic because that's, you know, they call it less lethal. And so with Elite Force, it is less lethal. Yes, most of the time it won't kill them, but if they're old, you know, if they are like overweight or something like that, and you're using tasers on them, there is a chance that they can die. If you throw a stinger grenade into a room full of civilians, there is a pretty good chance you're going to at least incapacitate somebody. These things happen. So that adds a nice layer to it that's pretty sweet. So one of the major things about SWAT 4 is the rules of engagement. So as you saw, you know, he
Move up. Check the door.
pointed a gun at a SWAT officer. That gives me license to shoot to kill. You know, I can kill him.
This is
And-
disgusting.
And no one will question
Get her
it.
open and clear.
Um,
Time to move. Go, go, go.
if he points a gun at one of the other officers, I can shoot to kill. If he points a gun at a hostage, I can shoot to kill. If he does not do any of those things, however, I do not have license to kill.
Talk. This is entry.
All right.
Talk. This is entry team. We
I
found
will
an
get
unidentified
penalized
female victim in need of
if I
medical
shoot him
assistance.
before he has made some sort of hostile gesture.
Notifying EMTs. Keep it
Get your hands up and get down.
Found me.
So like, you know, a lot of the times, as you'll see,
Is this really happening?
Civilians
they
say
will
they
like,
take
I'll
talk.
burst into a room, there'll be a guy there with a gun, and I'll, you know, I'll shout at him like, oh, you know, put the gun on, get down, and he'll just turn and run. He'll run to another room. If I shoot him in the back, I get penalized. That is not within the rules of engagement because he has not actually done anything hostile, which is a little ridiculous just because, I mean, they say, you know, like SWAT is a life-saving, you know, organization. They're there to save lives, everybody's. So it's in their best interest to save as many people. But it's like, yeah, all right, sure, you know. But he shouts out like, "I'm gonna get you" or something like that. And so that's where less lethal stuff comes in, because you do have you can just shoot him in the back with beanbags or tase him or something like that. And most of the time, you know, he'll probably relent, and you can get him to submit. Now, yeah, he might be incapacitated or even die, but a lot of the times you might take that risk. All right, so that was the first mission. It's very bearable. That's a tutorial one. It's really easy. There's not much to say about it. You can see the bonuses that I got, the penalties. I got no penalties because I didn't break any rules. But you notice I didn't get a perfect score. That's because we did have to kill 2 targets instead of arresting them. All right, so we're moving into the Food Wall restaurant. Basically, just a restaurant. The owner is a gunsmith, and he illegally modifies guns. Recently, this Uzi with like this fully auto Uzi was used in a homicide, and they think that he did it and he's got it, and so they want it as evidence, and they want us to take him down and you know, any of his other buddies down. And of course, since we're busting into a restaurant, we have to rescue anybody who's not armed, which they count as civilians. That's pretty much it. We have one entry this time, the back door right here. So there's no options there. We got our and we unlock a stun gun. So, since I didn't actually get to shoot the shotgun, we'll stick with that. We'll switch over to the stun gun with 10 cartridges. And I think we'll stick with that. I'm going to listen to the audio levels in this video after this. I'll really try to make sure it sounds good. Game is just insanely loud.
Gold. Regroup and follow me.
Coming to you.
So Elite Force adds a lot of additional functionality for commanding your squad mates.
Police, get down now.
This city is compliant.
In the base game, you could not. I don't know if it's the expansion or if it's the Elite Force mod, but in the base game, you could not command them to restrain and report. Which, since in that case, you know, you would have to restrain everybody and
absolutely
report everything and everybody and pick up every piece of evidence, every gun. So adding that functionality.
Continuing on.
I'm clear.
Yeah, except I know there's okay, we're actually clear. That's pretty interesting. And you can have them use the Opti one, and you can have them use the Opti one around corners and stuff like that. Oh, I think he's.
Get down! Shit!
All right, man. He pulled out a Glock in my face. I don't know what he was thinking.
Entry team to
All right, so
Get down! Hands
I didn't actually kill him. I only incapacitate him, which gives you,
make him secure.
you know, better points than killing him.
Easy.
If you shoot him in the head, yeah, you're probably gonna kill him.
Shit is this? I didn't do anything. I'm just
civilian ready to evacuate.
Keep clearing.
Right. Stay back.
Fall in and stay close.
Okay.
I'll take point.
So we'll head into the front of the restaurant now.
clear. Room clear.
Generally, you want to be as methodical as possible.
Stack it up. Copy.
You want to go room by room, floor by floor. You know, either top down or bottom up.
Doors unlocked. Open and clear.
Moving. Go.
You know, right now it's
No one here.
we completely outgear and outpower any sort of criminal. But later on, yeah, you're gonna want to be using all your grenades and things like that. You want to be as tactical as possible to give yourself the most advantage, so that your team doesn't get slaughtered
Get down.
and you don't get slaughtered. But for right now, we don't need a whole lot of that.
Hands up.
All right, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're telling him hands up, and he's just freaking out or whatever, they'll either like freak out like this and they won't comply, or they'll actively be like, fuck you, I'm not a criminal, don't arrest me. In either case, you have to do something extra to force them to comply. Now there's this thing, deploy triple
Use the
baton.
grenade launcher. Ready
I
to
think
TL,
that
boss.
literally, like, he shoots a grenade launcher at him, which is insane because he's got it loaded with stinger grenades. He could have easily killed that hostage, but I think he missed. The grenade like bounced over there. So this is where you would pepper spray them, or you can just walk up and give them a punch. And as soon as you do, they'll all be like, get down, get on the ground, and then he complies.
Hang in there. No
Check out every single room, leave no stone unturned. You never know who might be hiding out. But, alright, we've cleared out the first floor, so that's all good. On to the second floor. Alright, I think we're... okay. Oh, alright. There can be traps. Really, it's more like alarms. Some doors will have this sort of alarm trap on them. And the only way to see that is by using the Opti Wand and looking up at the doorknob, or having your guys check for traps, and they do it for you. Okay, so here we're clear. Let me look under here. Okay. Can't actually... okay. If I could just... I don't see anyone there. Okay, I think this room is entirely clear.
Doc, this is Sierra 1.
That's our
There's the Uzi.
Doc, this is entry team. Evidence secured.
So that means all the criminals, armed criminals, are all in this room. Somewhere. I mean, there's at least one. So we will, we'll go loud. I'm gonna have them do... I'm gonna do a breach. And so you can see all the different options you have for breaching. You can breach in two different ways. You can use C2 as a little explosive, or you can use a shotgun. Now, I believe the benefit of using the shotgun is if there's a guy right on the other side of the door and you use a breaching charge, they will probably die and you'll lose points. So that's bad. But if they're not next to the door, the breaching charge basically acts as like a flashbang. It's like a flashbang effect for anybody on the other side. And so they'll be stunned when the door explodes open. So I don't think you get either of those effects with the shotgun. So it's good or bad. But we'll use a breaching charge, and then you can choose to just go in and clear, or you can have the other one of them throw one of the 3 types of grenades, or you can have me throw a grenade. The benefit of having me do it is I get to place it. Sometimes their throwing is really shit, and usually they won't throw it far into the room. So if I wanted to go far into a room, I'll do it myself.
Get in there and
So
clear.
let's do that, and we'll be using
Doc, this
Placing
is
a
Sierra
charge.
1.
we'll be using a
Traumatized moved to
flashbang.
visual
Gas would
contact.
probably be all right as well, but we don't. I don't have a respirator. So. I think it bounced off a dresser, but all right, get in there.
Suspect out of range. Lost. Suspect ready for
All right, good. Now, I'll point this out since we're here, since they both complied, and they are both. I think they're no, maybe he wasn't armed, but he was definitely armed. So criminals, if you do not restrain them and you take your eyes off of them, they can either grab their gun and start shooting again, or they can just run and they can just run away. So, and you think, oh, okay, well, it's, you just
keep it moving.
restrain them, no problem.
Roger.
Yeah, except when you're dealing with a whole big situation, enemies running around, you're still in the middle of a firefight, but one guy complies. You know, you're not on him. You're not going to restrain him immediately because you're in a firefight. So it's a little bit of a, it can be a bit of a situation. That's the fun of it. All right, so here we have a guy right on the other side. The best way for me to handle this is going to be to open the door from the side and throw a stinger grenade in. If they don't die or incapacitate from the stinger grenade, they are like, it's like 100% chance that they'll comply. There you go. And I, of course, can restrain if I choose to do so. And there you go. That should be pretty close to perfect, yeah. The only problem was I shot that one guy instead of arresting him. But, oh, and one civvy got harmed. I don't know why that is. Huh. Still, pretty good. You may be wondering about the difficulties. I think there's a few changes. So the main difference is the score needed to advance. So on normal, you need 50 points. As you'll see, I just got 94, which is great. Easy, just 0. So as long as you complete the mission, you succeed. Hard is 75, and Elite is 90. Now, I think the Elite Force mod on Hard and Elite also adds, like, more enemies. So, more shit to deal with. Normal is good enough for me. It's the fun balance between, you know, doable and not excessively obnoxious. Alright, Quick Fuel Convenience Store. This is basically a bunch of, like, oxycodone addicts that have been knocking off convenience stores. This one went sideways for some reason, and they took some of the customers in there as hostages. But they have no idea. They've never taken hostages before. They have no idea what they're doing. They're completely hopped up on drugs. So yeah, it's a delicate situation. It's a small gas station, but we got to bust in and take care of them as quickly and cleanly as possible. Because here's the type of situation where the criminals will have a certain, like, personality template assigned to them that determines, like, how they'll react to situations, how likely they are to comply, or, you know, and just give up, how likely they are to flee, how likely they are to just shoot at you, and how likely they are to execute a hostage. It's not like you breach into a room and they're just like, oh, fuck this hostage. Psh! No, it's not that unfair to you, although that might be how it is in real life. You know, who knows? But in this game, they will announce to you that they're going to execute a hostage, and then they'll stand there and point their gun at a hostage. And so you have a brief window where you can shut them down. But yeah, so there's all different templates that can be assigned to criminals that determine how they'll react to situations. Insane is the worst. There's a couple missions where all the criminals are insane, and so they are the most likely to execute hostages, which is horrific. All right, we're heading into the side entrance. We've got some, you know, we got multiple civvies in there, and we've unlocked the Remington M870 and also the breaching variant. Basically, if you don't use a breaching variant, you have a chance to succeed with the shotgun when breaching. With the breaching variant, you always succeed while breaching, but it's pretty much useless, more or less, as an actual weapon. Alright, so let's switch it up with a shotgun. We'll head over to the... Oh, boy. Let's go with this, the PDW. Ammo types, JHP is best for unarmored targets. I think armor piercing is best for armored targets. FMJ is mostly good against armored targets, but it's better against unarmored than AP, and JSP is pretty much the happy medium for, you know, armored / unarmored. Since we know they don't have body armor, we can just roll with JHP, and you do not need 10 magazines. That's absurd. We'll still roll with the stun gun. This is all good. And that's all good. Not much to really change at this point.
1812 Adam, this is Central BCC. Multiple SWAT units responding code 3 to CP at Pitkin and Daly. Barricade hostage situation.
Element, fall in and stay close. I'll take point.
Understood. Following.
Now we can absolutely have some armed gunmen outside.
With you, sir.
So we need to check corners even out here. This is an active crime scene. Especially this toilet. That's an active crime scene.
Entry team spotted.
On the ground, down!
Oof.
Set!
Wow.
Get down!
That's excessive.
Puffer.
Please restrain that lady. Jesus Christ. It's a tight bathroom, man.
Goddamn cops, you don't know
Suspect is
nothing.
restrained and is carrying evidence.
Yeah,
Guess
I
her
think she
lying
might be
fly
insane.
days are Fall in on me.
I mean, I don't know what people are like on
Position.
oxycodone, but damn. Alright, let's look under the door. Got no alarms, of course not. Bunch of drug addicts in a gas station are not going to set up some traps. But we've got, you know, a section over there that I can't quite see, which is always a bit of a concern. But, hey, I got a gun in my hand. Well, that could have gone better.
Hands in the air!
Please comply.
Over here! Drop the gun! Do it now! Police! Drop your
God
weapon!
damn it.
Entry team to talk.
I mean, at this point, like, they're using, like,
This is
machine
entry team.
pistols,
Suspect killed.
maybe a shotgun. But most of the time, you'll be able to take a few shots without a problem. Later on, when they are trained with assault rifles aiming at your head, you can and will die in 2 shots. One, like, really one shot, one burst.
Unlock it. Keep it quiet.
And so, yeah, you need to be very
it, sir.
quick.
Police, on your knees! I'm just
You gonna
standing
get them
here.
too? Keep it moving. Clear it.
Put your hands up and get down!
Fuck.
We'll get
Don't scare me like that, man.
Hanging a bit longer.
I thought you were here.
Entry team to talk. Civilians ready to evacuate.
Yeah, like I said, early on, these levels, you can pretty much go through yourself. As long as you're reasonably quick, you're probably not going to die, but you will not get perfect scores. Because your response to most things at this point is just to shoot them. Whereas, you know, if you go in with your whole team and you're throwing, like, flashbangs and stuff, they will comply. Most of the time. Basically, like, every criminal and suspect or civilian has a hidden morale counter. And so they start at different numbers, and the template sort of affects that and things like that. And so different activities and actions that you do affect
Talk, this is Sierra
an individual's
1.
morale.
Team spotted.
And so that makes them more or less likely to, you know, do certain things.
Take her into custody.
So, like, breaching in a door and everybody rushing in,
Talk, this is Sierra
that definitely
1.
lowers
Element has
morale
moved out of
quite a
visual
bit.
contact.
Stay cool. It'll be over soon.
Is Kim alright?
Entry team to talk. Civilian secured. Ready for evac.
Definitely missing someone.
Sierra 1 reporting. Unknown in the store.
You do have
Talk
snipers.
1, level 1.
You... Wait, what? What the fuck did you see? You saw something? How? So you have snipers posted around the building on most levels, or every level, really. In the original game, you never got penalized for any kill done by a sniper. That is not the case in Elite Force. The snipers have to follow the same rules of engagement. And
Moving clear. Going ready.
Which basically means I practically never use snipers because, you know, you have to control them for them to take a shot. They will not do it on their own. And so, to get some sort of miracle situation where the snipers see somebody pointing a gun at you or a hostage, and you have time to take control of one of them, it's just...
I see the cops. Ground. Put your hands up and get down.
Dude, fucking... Yeah.
I ain't dying for this shit. Moving clear.
Talk. This is entry team.
That should be it.
Dead suspect.
Roger.
So obviously that was pretty damn lethal, but they're drug addicts, so who cares?
Talk to entry team. Mission objectives accomplished. Time to head back in.
Good work, guys. Let's head for home.
So yeah, you have to restrain everybody. You have to report every individual. Every person on the level has to be reported. And also any guns dropped by criminals, either when they die or when they just drop it, has to be secured and collected. And there you go. So once you've reported everything and picked up everything, then it'll auto-complete for you. So there we got 90 out of 100, even though I killed off practically everybody. Well, I shot at 4 out of the 6, I guess. We got 90, which is good enough for Elite, but yeah, so pretty sweet stuff. All right, so that'll do it for this video. I'm hoping to do a full playthrough of all the missions, just because I'm still really enjoying the game, and so it's just fun times. As we go on, I'll do less explaining, and it'll be just more reacting to the situations as the situations get more complicated. But either way, you know, it is a fantastic experience. I highly recommend picking it up. $10 on GOG. Get the Elite Force mod. It's just good times. But all right, my name is Mangg. Gaming Watching has been SWAT 4. See you fine folks in the next part.